Hey guys, another week has come. It's crazy how fast semesters seem to fly by, don't they? I hope you guys are doing good. My life's been a little bit crazy and hectic. Something fun I guess I'll share with you guys is I got accepted into the master's program at BYU in communications for the fall, and so I'm going to be doing that. So my life's a little bit crazy right now as I make plans because my wife's having a baby the beginning of next month, and then we'll be moving the month after that, probably. So my life's a little crazy, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are experiencing a lot of that kind of stuff too. So first off, just thank you for all the awesome discussions. The Facebook discussions is just so cool. Some of the stuff you guys are saying, and I want to just give a little shout out to Ken and thank him for all the awesome advice he was giving. You know, if you guys ever feel like you know a lot about a certain subject, whether it's photography or like Photoshop or InDesign or designing logos, like if there's something that you have a little bit of experience with, please feel free to especially jump in on the Facebook chat where we discuss some of it and share some of advice and suggestions. That's what that's there for, and you guys are doing a great job in Facebook, and I'm really enjoying all of that. Okay, so just thank you for all of that. Sorry that I haven't been as present as I'd like last week. Also in iLearn, there's some great comments that were made, and I haven't had a chance to go through all of those, but I try to read through every comment you guys leave, whether in Facebook as well as in iLearn. So I'll be making some comments on the thought, some of you guys' feelings and impressions about the last week's spiritual thought. So I'll be doing some of that, and of course love to keep seeing you guys share ideas and feelings about the spiritual thought. And it doesn't have to be a ton, even if it's just like a few sentences. So please feel free to share or even just think about it. Okay, so what's going to happen is starting now in this week 5, sorry. In week 5, we're going to start kind of a pattern that's going to happen, I think, for most of the rest of the semester besides like the finals week. And what it is for 2 weeks, you guys are going to work on a project, okay? And so the first week, what's going to happen is you guys are going to learn or practice your skills with a certain piece of software. So for week 5 and 6, it's going to be InDesign, Adobe InDesign, right? So don't forget, if you haven't figured out how you want to get the Adobe suite, how you're going to use how you're going to get access to that, to look through some of the information they have about suggested ways to do that. So you guys are going to be learning Adobe InDesign this week and next week. And so to help you kind of get a good start, you're going to start off by doing this worksheet. Okay, so you're going to download this worksheet and you're going to open it up, and there's going to be a video, and you'll follow along with the video, and you'll just complete the worksheet. And then you'll repackage it the way that it says to and upload it to iLearn. Okay, so that worksheet is just for you to practice and get used to using InDesign, using the different tools, getting used to the workface, the interface, and all of that for InDesign. Okay, so that's kind of the point of the worksheet. So that's what's going to be due Wednesday, right? Then the next thing that's going to be due is you guys are going to be doing some sketches and creating a draft for your magazine spread project. Okay, so what I'm going to recommend, and this is actually in Facebook, this is kind of like our discussion topic for Facebook. I'm going to really recommend you take some time and go look at some examples of magazine spreads. Okay, you're going to be making a 3-page magazine story, right? And in that, you're going to have 2 of those pages that are a spread, right? That means they're side by side. So one separate page, like maybe it's your first page is like a title page, a main page, and then the next 2 are spread. Or maybe you have 2, your title page is a 2-page spread, and then you have like the concluding page is the 3rd page. However you want to do it, I don't think it matters. It just says 3 pages. One of them has to be a spread. That means 2 pages next to each other, right? So you're going to be making this. So I recommend you go look at some actual examples, specifically, anywhere you want, really. And so look up some good examples and share them in Facebook, some cool examples you find of magazines layout, okay? And then you're going to do some sketches, okay? So you're going to follow the requirements. The sketches should they're just there to help you practice and learn what you might have in your design, so that when you sit down to actually design it and put together in InDesign, you're not trying to figure out what would be good, like where you're going to use those rules, like how you're going to have contrast maybe in the size of some of the elements on the page, or where you're going to, how you're going to, what you're going to repeat in your design. All that stuff, you're kind of figuring out some of the basics of it in the sketching stage. Sketching is a very common practice of all designers, artists of most designers and artists use sketching of some kind to when they're doing their projects. Okay, so you'll do some sketches, you'll put together a draft. Now a draft doesn't have to have everything in there, doesn't even sometimes have to have final pictures. I mean, you could just put in like a shape to kind of fill in and be like, okay, here's where the photo will go. The thing is the closer to the final design that this draft is, the better feedback you will get from your classmates and from me. So the more it looks like your final design, the better. So try to get it as close to your final design as you can. So get as much as you can on it done, and then you'll have all next week to finish making tweaks and make corrections based off your feedback. So a couple things just so you know, you need to have at least, it needs to be a 2-column layout. That means that you use like 2 columns, not just the text goes straight across, but goes in 2 or more columns. Also, you got to find your article either on like les.org, or you could use BYUI, the BYUI scroll.org. That's the school's newspaper for those who haven't been on campus much. And just a couple things, it needs to be at least 600 words or more. And it says that the article can have a big title, but it's not supposed to have a bunch of like smaller headings in it, because you have to break the article up into 3 or more headings or subheadings. Okay. You're gonna have to have a pull quote that's like a big quote. Like if you look in the Ensign, they'll have like the quote sometimes that's in like a box that's really large. And just so you guys know, Ensign's a great place to find examples, learn a little bit about magazine design. Really good place. Also, you're gonna have to have 2 relevant images, and they have to be photos that you take during this semester. Okay, you have to go and take the photos now based off of what you learned last week about photography. Okay, and then 1+, it says word wrap. That means that like you have a picture and it's kind of cut out a little bit and the text goes around it, and you'll see examples of that. They have a good and bad example. They have a good example of the temple, and the text is kind of going around the edges of the photo of the temple. So those are just some of the requirements, the rules, or requirements for that. It's all in there, so make sure you're looking at that as you're planning out what you're going to do. So what's going to happen is with your draft, you're going to post a PDF of your draft as well as your sketches to iLearn. That's what's due on Saturday, on the 2nd due date. And then you're also going to post a copy of the draft as a JPEG, so not as a PDF, in the Facebook group. Okay, so you're going to post that to the Facebook group, and that's because the next week, the second week of the project, you're going to have to take some time and give feedback to each other and give suggestions on, what are some things you like about the project, what are some things they could improve upon, and we'll talk more about that next week. So that's what's going to happen. And actually, one of the things I'm going to do is I'll make like a little video where I just highlight a couple of things from everybody who posts in there. I'm not going to look at everyone's, but I'll say like, here's a couple that are really good examples, and then here are just a couple of things I noticed that a lot of people made mistakes with design that you'll want to fix. So I'll make like a little, hopefully 5-10 minute video about that for the next week. Okay, so that's kind of how, and then the last, on Saturday, that's when the final design will be due, and you'll submit that. Okay, so we'll talk more about the next week. One last thing I just wanted to mention real quick is I will be giving out bonus points. I can't remember what it's called. The courtesy points, I think, is what it's called. So if you guys get you see oh look, I got 1, and maybe that says it's an F, it's a bonus point. So don't worry about the letter grade. It's just up to 5 points total that I can give. So I will be awarding those sometimes. Like I'm going to award one for this last week to Ken for just being super proactive and involved in the discussion and being a big help to everyone, that kind of thing. So hey, thank you for participating really good in the discussion board on iLearn, and sharing spiritual thought or answering people's questions, or hey, thank you for doing this. I'll just award it to people when I feel like they're doing something special, or at the end of the semester, sometimes I'll give some points to people for just the fact that they're so polite and worked really well with me all semester. So far though, guys, we're having a great semester, and if you have questions, please feel free to email me or come to my office hour on Wednesdays. I'm here for you guys. I'm excited to help you all out. Okay, talk to you later.